Times Square shooting leaves 3 injured, suspect in custody. Alaska summit carries higher stakes for Trump than for Putin. Salam Malaysia Madani, this is World Today. I am Olivia Nicholas. A 17-year-old boy opened fire and wounded 3 people in New York City's heavily touristed Times Square early Saturday. The shooting occurred around 1:20 a.m. local time following a verbal altercation. An 18-year-old woman's neck was grazed while a 19-year-old man and a 65-year-old man's lower limbs were injured. Fortunately, none of the injuries was considered to be life-threatening. The 3 victims were taken to New York City's Bellevue Hospital, where they were determined to be in stable condition. A New York Police Department spokesperson said the suspect has been taken into custody and a firearm has been recovered. The shooting occurred at 44th Street and 7th Avenue, an intersection in the middle of the city's theater district, which draws tens of thousands of tourists a day. In July, a man armed with a semi-automatic rifle gunned down 4 people before taking his own life as he rampaged through a skyscraper in Manhattan. According to the Gun Violence Archive, there have been 254 mass shootings in the United States this year alone. Egyptian Foreign Minister Abdel met with Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan in New Almin City, Egypt on Saturday, where they condemned the Israeli cabinet's decision to expand the occupation and control of the Gaza Strip. Ankara has said it marked a new phase in what it called Israel's genocidal and expansionist policies, while calling for global measures to stop the plan's implementation. Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan said Muslim nations must work in total unison and work to mobilize the international community against Israel's plan. Speaking at a joint press conference with Abdel Lati, Fidan said the Organization of Islamic Cooperation had been called to an emergency meeting. Abdel Lati said there was full coordination with Turkey on Gaza and referred to a statement issued on Saturday by the OIC Ministerial Committee condemning Israel's plan. The OIC committee said Israel's plan marked a dangerous and unacceptable escalation, a flagrant violation of international law and an attempt to entrench the illegal occupation and obliterate any opportunity for peace. The OIC urged world powers and the United Nations Security Council to assume their legal and humanitarian responsibilities and to take urgent action to stop Israel's Gaza City plan. A parachuted aid pallet struck and killed a 15-year-old boy on Saturday while he tried to collect humanitarian supplies in Nuseirat, central Gaza. Muhannad Eid was rushing towards aid pallets as they were being airdropped when one of them crushed him. The media was able to confirm the location of the videos as Nuseirat from the metadata on the original video files. The data when the videos were recorded was also verified by the metadata on the original video files. UN agencies said airdrops are insufficient and that Israel must let in far more aid by land and open up access to the territory to prevent starvation among its 2.2 million people, most of whom are displaced amidst vast swaths of rubble. The United Nations said more than 1,000 people have been killed trying to receive aid in the enclave since the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation (GHF) began operating in May 2025. Most of them shot by Israeli forces operating near GHF sites. Israel denied having a policy of starvation in Gaza and said Hamas could end the crisis by surrendering. On a related note, at least 61,369 Palestinians have been killed in Israel's genocidal war on the Gaza Strip since October 2023, according to the Health Ministry on Saturday. A ministry statement said that 39 bodies were brought to hospitals in the last 24 hours, while 491 people were injured, taking the number of injuries to 152,850 in the Israeli onslaught. It added many victims are still trapped under the rubble and on the roads as rescuers are unable to reach them. The ministry also noted that 21 Palestinians were killed and over 341 injured while trying to get humanitarian aid in the last 24 hours. The ministry reported that 11 people, including children, have died in the past 24 hours due to famine and malnutrition. The Israeli army resumed its attacks on the Gaza Strip on the 18th of March and has since killed 9,862 people and injured 40,809 others, shattering a ceasefire and prison exchange agreement that took hold in January. Rescue efforts are continuing after torrential rain triggered mountain torrents in Yuzhong County, northwest China, Gansu province, which had left 15 dead and 28 missing as of 6 p.m. on Saturday. A total of 9,828 people in the disaster area had been evacuated to safety as of Friday night. Torrential rain began pounding Yuzhong and other parts of Lanzhou on Thursday evening, with the maximum precipitation reaching 220.2 millimeter by Friday noon. According to results of a preliminary investigation, a total of 51 road sections with a mileage of 102.2 kilometers were damaged. Since Friday evening, rescuers have been working overnight in the hardest hit Mapo township, sparing no effort to find the people still listed as missing. Carrying shovels and other tools in hands, rescuers successively crossed the muddy rapids to carry out search and rescue operations all through the night. More than 130 sets of mechanical equipment and over 670 emergency personnel have been dispatched from across the province to the point line to carry out search and rescue and road restoration operations. As of 6 p.m. Saturday, road access to the affected villages had all been restored. U.S. President Donald Trump will meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin next Friday in Alaska to negotiate an end to the war in Ukraine. In a feedback on the matter, Professor Sergei Radchenko from Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies said the meeting may hold higher stakes for Trump as a would-be peacemaker than for the Russian leader.
Well, I think if nothing comes from it, that's also okay from Putin's perspective. It's going to be sort of humiliating for Trump if nothing comes out of this, because he will have given all that face to Putin. He will have given all that recognition to Putin and then got nothing out of this. Well, that's a slap in the face. So that's not going to be looking good for Trump at all.
Trump made the highly anticipated announcement on social media that the parties, including Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky, were close to a ceasefire deal. Addressing reporters at the White House, Trump suggested an agreement would involve some exchange of land. Meanwhile, President Vladimir Zelensky said that Ukraine could not violate its constitution on the territorial issues, adding that Ukrainians will not gift their land to the occupiers.
Guna mentol jimat tenaga untuk lebih jimat.
Coming up next, brokers told to stop endorsing stablecoins to avoid instability. Chinese regulators have asked local brokers and other bodies to stop research publication and seminars to endorse stablecoins. This move comes in a bid to check the asset class and avoid instability. A source familiar with the matter said some brokerages and think tanks received guidance from market regulators in late July and earlier this month, pushing them to cancel seminars and discontinue dissemination of research on stablecoins. Regulators are also concerned that stablecoins could be exploited as a new tool for fraudulent activities in mainland China. China Securities Regulatory Commission and the People's Bank of China did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Stablecoins are a type of cryptocurrency designed to maintain a constant value and are usually pegged to a fiat currency such as the US dollar. They are commonly used by crypto traders to move funds between tokens. While China's 2021 ban on cryptocurrency remains in effect on the mainland, Hong Kong passed a stablecoin bill earlier this year to boost its status as a global digital asset hub. ChatGPT developer OpenAI is launching the next generation of its software in the competition between AI companies. In a statement, OpenAI boss Sam Altman said GPT-5 is a significant leap in intelligence over all previous models. The previous version, GPT-4, communicates at the level of a university student. GPT-5, on the other hand, is like an expert on any subject with a PhD, Altman promised. The ChatGPT chatbot will also run with GPT-5 for users of the free version in future. OpenAI places a special focus on the fact that the new generation is good at programming software. The hype surrounding artificial intelligence began with the release of ChatGPT at the end of 2022. According to OpenAI, ChatGPT currently has almost 700 million weekly users. In addition to OpenAI, companies such as Anthropic, Elon Musk, xAI, and tech heavyweights, Google and Meta are also in the race to become leaders in the future of AI. Meanwhile, Microsoft is cooperating with OpenAI and has announced that it will integrate GPT-5 into its products. The World Trade Organization (WTO) lowered its forecast for global merchandise trade growth in 2026 to 1.8% from the previous estimate of 2.5% due to higher tariffs. In its latest trade forecast update, the WTO said recent tariff changes are expected to have an overall negative impact on the outlook for global trade. The WTO said higher reciprocal tariff rates introduced by the United States on the 7th of August are expected to weigh increasingly on U.S. imports and depress exports of U.S. trading partners in the second half of 2025 and in 2026. It now projects world merchandise trade to grow by 0.9% in 2025, revising its earlier forecast of a 0.2% contraction made in mid-April. The WTO noted that the revised growth outlook is largely driven by front-loading of U.S. imports, but emphasized that the forecast remains well below the pre-tariff estimate of 2.7%. By region, Asian economies are projected to remain the largest positive driver of the world merchandise trade growth in 2025, while North America will weigh negatively on global trade growth in both 2025 and 2026. WTO Director General Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala noted that the full impact of recent tariff measures is still unfolding. A recent U.S. employment report confirmed signs of fragility in the labor market. A senior central bank official was quoted as saying this, backing 3 interest rate cuts this year to guard against further weakening. In remarks to a summit in Colorado, Federal Reserve Vice Chair for Supervision Michelle Baumann called for a proactive approach in lowering the benchmark lending rate. Doing so would help avoid a further unnecessary erosion in labor market conditions and reduce the chance that the Fed's rate-setting committee will need to make a larger cut if the jobs market worsened further. Baumann also made the case that price increases from President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs this year will likely represent a one-time effect. She expects inflation will return to the Fed's 2% target after the tariff effects dissipate. Her latest remarks underscore growing divisions among Fed policymakers about when the independent central bank should begin slashing rates again. The Fed has come under intense pressure from Trump recently as the president repeatedly lambasted Fed Chair Jerome Powell for his decisions to keep rates unchanged. An international crew of 4 astronauts is back home on Earth Saturday after nearly 5 months aboard the International Space Station, the ISS returning safely in a SpaceX capsule. The spacecraft carrying U.S. astronauts Anne McClain and Nicole Ayers, Japan's Takuya Onishi and Russian cosmonaut Kirill Peskov splashed down off California's coast at 8:44 a.m. local time.
15 minutes
The return marks the end of the 10th crew rotation mission to the space station under NASA's Commercial Crew Program. The crew will now fly to Houston to be reunited with their families. They conducted numerous scientific experiments during their time on the space station, including studying plant growth, how cells react to gravity, and the effect of microgravity on human eyes. NASA Acting Administrator Sean Duffy praised the successful mission. NASA said last month it would lose about 20% of its workforce under cuts from U.S. President Donald Trump's sweeping effort to trim the federal workforce. Trump has meanwhile prioritized crew missions to the moon and Mars.
This crew is going to be Klein and Nicole Ayers alongside JAXA astronaut Takuya Onishi and Roscosmos cosmonaut Kirill Peskov.
Bersihkan penapis penghawa dingin dan tetapkan 24 darjah Celsius untuk lebih jimat.
Boca Juniors salvage draw match at home to Racing Club. Stay with us. Boca Juniors scored late to salvage a 1-1 draw at home to Racing Club in the Argentine Clausura tournament encounter in Buenos Aires on Saturday. Neither Boca nor Racing have started their Clausura well, so both are measuring their battered health status in a duel of needs. Boca has already gone 11 games without a win, so Saturday's game at La Bombonera is no small matter. After a scoreless first half, Santiago Solari put the visitors ahead in the 76th minute, a much-needed motivation, if any, to salvage the match. Boca quickly equalized 12 minutes later when a header from Milton Jimenez was on target, much to the delight of the home crowd. At the final whistle, Boca remains winless after 4 games with 3 draws and a loss to their name. They sit with just 3 points in 13th spot in the 15-team group standings. Coincidentally, Marcos Rojo is set to become a new signing for Racing after officially parting ways with Boca on Friday. The 35-year-old defender leaves Boca as a free agent and will sign a 1-year productivity-based contract with Racing per reports. In one of the greatest classics of Argentine football, heavyweight Independiente were left in a scoreless draw against River Plate in Avellaneda. The home team was looking for their first victory in the Clausura, while the visitors wanted to win to reach the top. Independiente and River Plate played out a goalless draw in the Argentine Clausura tournament encounter in Avellaneda on Saturday. Marcelo Gallardo's squad is determined to keep its grip on the upper tier of the standings, while El Rojo, sitting at the bottom with just 1 point from 9 available, are desperate for a breakthrough win to spark a turnaround. The host had 2 goals ruled out for offsides in the second half. Santiago Montiel had his long-range strike cancelled in the 52nd minute before Walter Mazanti's looping effort was again chalked off just 9 minutes later. Unbeaten, River Plate remained top of Group B on 8 points after 4 matches, just in front of San Lorenzo on goal difference, while Independiente's search for a first win of the campaign continues as they lay 14th in the 15-team standings following 2 draws and as many losses. In transfer news, Liverpool have confirmed the departure of striker Darwin Núñez to Saudi Pro League side Al Hilal in a deal worth an initial €53 million. The move could enable the Premier League champions to pursue Newcastle United's Alexander Isak as a replacement. Núñez arrived at Anfield 3 years ago from Benfica for a fee of €75 million, but struggled to consistently justify his price tag. The Uruguayan international netted 40 goals in 143 appearances but gradually lost his starting role under managers Jurgen Klopp and Arne Slot. Al Hilal announced the signing in an official statement. His departure raises speculation that Liverpool may intensify efforts to sign Newcastle's Isak after an initial £110 million bid was rejected. Al Hilal continued to strengthen their squad with high-profile signings. The Saudi club, managed by Simon Inzaghi, already boasts talents like Ruben Neves, Khalidou Koulibaly and Alexander Mitrovic. Their recent Club World Cup run included a shock victory over Manchester City. Defending champion Jannik Sinner showed no signs of rust after a one-month break as he cruised past Colombian qualifier Daniel Galan 6-1, 6-1 in the Cincinnati Open second round on Saturday. World number one Sinner opted to take some time off after his Wimbledon win, but was in pristine form at the ATP 1000 event after a first round bye, producing just 4 unforced errors. Sinner won the opening 5 games in 15 minutes as he allowed his 144th ranked opponent, who came through qualifying, little breathing room. The victory in 59 minutes was the fastest of Sinner's ATP career, beating his previous quickest by 1 minute. The defending champion claimed his 22nd consecutive win on hard court, last losing the Beijing final in September to rival Carlos Alcaraz. Elsewhere, 11-seeded Casper Ruud bowed out, falling 6-7, 6-4, 6-2 to France's Arthur Rinderknecht. Norway's Ruud fell victim to 34 unforced errors and lost serve 4 times. In the women's draw, reigning Wimbledon champion Iga Swiatek rolled over Anastasia Potapova in the second round of the Cincinnati Open with a 6-1, 6-4 Open win. While it felt like a routine win for Swiatek, it was actually a huge career milestone. Third seed Iga Swiatek eased into the Cincinnati Open third round with a straight sets win over Russian Anastasia Potapova on Saturday in Ohio. The Polish moved into the third round after a bye in just 74 minutes, saving 4 of the 5 break points she faced. Saturday's victory marked Swiatek's 300th career victory. Even better, it only took her 372 total matches. That makes her the player with the fewest matches taken to reach 300 WTA wins since Serena Williams in 2006. The next plays Ukraine's Marta Kostyuk, who she has defeated in all 3 previous meetings in the third round of the US Open tune-up tournament. Still to come, Robot Conference features latest humanoid robot development. Humanoid robots are stealing the spotlight at the 2025 World Robot Conference in Beijing, where a record 50 manufacturers are unveiling their latest full-body designs. The 5-day conference features forums, exhibitions, competitions and networking events with about 200 leading robotics companies from around the world presenting over 1,500 exhibits. One of the exhibitors is UB Tech, a Chinese manufacturer of robots based in Shenzhen. Its droids are already on the job at BYD and Zeekr plants, sorting parts, hauling loads and swapping their own batteries. At the event, a crowd gathered to observe a demonstration of UB Tech's latest industrial humanoid robot, the Walker S2, the world's first humanoid robot capable of autonomous battery swapping. This means that the robot can operate continuously without interrupting industrial operations. Another Chinese robotics company, Magic Atom, showcased a creative dance troupe featuring bipedal humanoid robots and quadrupedal robotic dogs performing together. Running from 8 to 12th of August in Beijing Economic Technological Development Area, the 2025 edition of the conference is held under the theme Making Robots Smarter, Making Embodied Agents More Intelligent. As the vibrant rhythms of traditional drums fill the air, Oscar Oibi's eyes gleam behind his intricately carved Zhao Li mask. The Ivorian performer twirls and leaps, his colourful outfit a blur of motion at Benin's second annual Mask Festival in Porto Novo.
Depuis que j'ai commencé à porter ce masque Zaouli, voilà, c'est depuis 2021. Voilà, il y a eu un peu de changement dans ma vie. Je ne vais pas dire un peu, mais beaucoup de changements dans ma vie. C'est grâce à ce masque que je suis arrivé ici aujourd'hui au Bénin. Et grâce à ce masque, je suis monté d'avion pour aller au Maroc, un peu partout. Voilà. Chez nous, cette danse, ça représente une joie. C'est une fierté. Partout, il y a la joie. Le Zaouli est là.
The festival, held on the first weekend of August, brought together thousands of spectators to celebrate ancestral spirits and cultural heritage. Performers from Benin, Nigeria and Ivory Coast showcase elaborate wooden masks and traditional dances, transforming Porto Novo into a vibrant tapestry of West African traditions. Mask traditions in West Africa dating back centuries plays pivotal roles in various cultures across the region. The masks serve as conduits between the physical and spiritual worlds, often representing ancestral spirits or mythical beings. Crafted by skilled artisans using local materials like wood and raffia, mask features in both sacred rituals and secular performances. While traditionally used in religious context, many mask traditions have evolved to include events like the Porto Novo Festival, adapting to modern audiences while preserving cultural heritage. Thousands of worshippers and tourists flocked to Nigeria's sacred Osun Grove on the 8th of August for the grand finale of the annual Osun Osogbo Festival, celebrating decades of Yoruba spiritual tradition at the UNESCO World Heritage Site. The festival saw a male chief priest carry the sacred white calabash known as Igba Osun during the grand procession. At the sacred Osun River, devotees performed ancient rituals, with some throwing live chickens into the water while others collected the sacred liquid for drinking and ceremonial purposes. However, concerns over water quality persist. While the government has announced a cleaning exercise, adherents and civil organizations say the river remains polluted. The revered river, which flows through the dense forest of the Osun Osogbo Sacred Grove, began to turn milky in 2018. Activists attribute the contamination to gold mining activities that started that year, saying it has impacted both religious worship and tourism revenue. Despite the warnings, many devotees continue to drink from the river, believing in its healing powers. The festival attracted numerous international tourists, underscoring the global appeal of the sacred Yoruba festival. That's it from us this afternoon. In our top story, Times Square shooting leaves 3 injured suspects in custody. Malaysia Tonight comes on at 8:30 p.m. this evening on TV1 and MyTV's Berita RTM News Channel. Malaysia Madani, Rakyat Disantuni. Thanks for watching. Have a fantastic afternoon.